What happens when a man worth billions puts on a janitor's uniform and discovers the woman he loves is a monster? What he saw didn't just break his heart, it ignited a war. And the quiet maid who stood between his children and cruelty? She became the match that lit the fuse. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back, or if you're new here, welcome to a story that's going to grip your heart and refuse to let go. Drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button right now because you do not want to miss what happens next. Trust me on this one. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever trusted someone so completely that you gave them access to the most precious parts of your life, only to discover they were poison the entire time? That's where we begin. David Patterson didn't look like a billionaire that October morning. He looked like exhaustion wrapped in a gray maintenance uniform, standing in the marble corridor of his own mansion with a mop bucket at his feet and a baseball cap pulled low over his eyes. His hands that signed billion-dollar contracts, gripped the wooden handle, knuckles white. 3 weeks of this. 3 weeks of waking at dawn, dressing in clothes that smelled of industrial cleaner, slipping into his own home like a ghost, watching, waiting. The security cameras weren't enough. He needed to be there, breathing the same air, feeling the tension his gut had been screaming about for months, because something was terribly, gut-wrenchingly wrong. His fiancée, Victoria Ashford, was perfect on paper. Elegant, educated, old money. She wore pearls like armor and smiled like she'd been trained by diplomats. When he'd introduced her to his 8-year-old twins, Noah and Zara, she'd knelt down, touched their faces gently, promised them she'd be the mother they deserved. David had believed her, but children don't lie with their bodies. They don't fake the way they flinch. 3 months ago, Noah stopped laughing. The boy who filled the house with giggles became silent. He picked at his food, wet the bed, and when David asked what was wrong, Noah would shake his head, eyes wide and afraid. "Nothing, Daddy. I'm fine." Zara changed too, stopped drawing, stopped singing. His little girl who belted out Disney songs became a shadow, creeping around the house like she was trying not to be noticed. When Victoria entered a room, Zara went rigid. David had asked Victoria about it. She'd smiled, touched his arm with manicured fingers. "Darling, they're just adjusting. Give them time. Give us time." He'd wanted to believe that, but then came the morning he overheard Zara crying in her bathroom, whispering to herself, "I'll be good. I promise I'll be good. Please don't be mad." That's when David Patterson, CEO of Patterson Energy, a man who built an empire from nothing, made a decision. He was going to find out the truth, even if it destroyed him. The disguise had been easy. He'd hired the cleaning service years ago. One phone call to the owner, a woman who owed him a favor, and David became Danny, a middle-aged janitor with a fake limp and borrowed accent. The first week, he saw nothing alarming. Victoria was cold with the children, distant, but not cruel. The second week, cracks appeared. Sharp words in honeyed tones. "Zara, darling, only common children chew with their mouths open." A hand gripping Noah's shoulder too tight. "Big boys don't cry over spilled juice. Clean it up. Now." But it was the third week, this morning, that everything shattered. David had been mopping the hallway when he heard Zara scream. Not playful, not startled, pure terror. He abandoned the mop and rushed toward the sound. Before he reached the door, he heard another voice, one he didn't recognize. "Get away from her, right now!" David froze at the doorframe and peered inside. The scene would haunt him forever. Victoria stood in the center of the playroom, face twisted with rage, an expression he'd never seen. Her hand raised, fingers curled like claws. Zara backed into the corner, sobbing, one hand pressed against her cheek. Noah was on the floor beside his favorite toy, a wooden helicopter David had made for him, smashed into pieces. And between Victoria and the children stood a young woman, small, mid-20s, dark brown skin, hair in a simple bun. Her uniform marked her as housekeeping staff. She was shaking, visibly trembling, but she didn't move. "I said move," Victoria hissed. "This doesn't concern you, Lena. These children need discipline, and you're interfering." "They're children," Lena said, voice cracking but firm. "They're 8 years old. You just called Zara a—" She choked, couldn't repeat it. "You can't talk to them like that." "I can do whatever I want." Victoria's voice rose like breaking glass. "Do you know who I am? I could have you fired with one phone call. I could make sure you never work in the city again." "Then do it," Lena whispered. "But I'm not letting you hurt them." Silence. David's heart hammered, his hands clenched. Every instinct screamed to burst through that door, throw off the disguise. But he needed to see this, needed to know who these people were when they thought no one was watching. Victoria's face went pale, then red. For a moment, David thought she might strike Lena. Instead, she smiled. The coldest smile David had ever seen. "You're fired," Victoria said softly. "Pack your things. Security will escort you off the property within the hour." Lena's face crumpled. "Okay," she whispered. "But please, please, don't hurt them when I'm gone." She turned to the children, crouched down despite Victoria's glare, and pulled both Noah and Zara into her arms. "You two are so brave," she whispered, loud enough for David to hear. "So smart and kind and brave." "Don't ever forget that!" Zara sobbed into Lena's shoulder. Noah clung to her arm, and David Patterson, watching from the doorway in his janitor's disguise, felt something inside him break. Because he realized what he'd done. He'd brought a predator into his children's lives. And this young woman, this maid named Lena Brooks, who probably made minimum wage, had just risked everything to protect two children who weren't even hers. Victoria turned sharply. "You, janitor, this room needs cleaning. Keep your mouth shut about what you saw." David lowered his head. "Yes, ma'am. Understand completely." Victoria smoothed her hair, mask sliding back. "Good. Lena, 30 minutes. Children, to your rooms. We'll discuss your behavior later." She swept out like a queen, leaving devastation behind. Lena released the children, wiping tears from Zara's face. "Go on. It'll be okay, I promise." The twins stumbled away, shell-shocked. David remained frozen, watching Lena gather pieces of Noah's broken helicopter with trembling fingers. She didn't know he was watching. Didn't know that beneath the disguise, the man who owned this house stood 3 feet away. She just cried silently, whispering, "God, please protect them, please." That's when David Patterson knew exactly what he had to do. The woman he'd planned to marry was going to pay. But first, he needed evidence, a plan. And he needed to make sure Lena Brooks, the woman who'd just sacrificed everything to save his children, never left his life again. Can David expose Victoria without destroying his children? And what about Lena? Does she have secrets of her own? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And hit subscribe because what happens next will shock you. Trust me. David waited until Lena left the playroom before he moved. His hands still shook, not from fear, but from volcanic rage burning beneath his skin. He forced himself to breathe, to maintain the hunched posture of Danny the janitor, to keep his face hidden. He swept up the broken glass and wood fragments. Each piece of Noah's helicopter felt like an accusation in his palm. He'd made that toy himself on a rare Sunday afternoon while Noah asked 1,000 questions about helicopters and rockets and whether Daddy could build a spaceship next. Victoria had destroyed it like it was nothing, like Noah was nothing. 20 minutes later, David found Lena in the staff break room, a windowless space in the mansion's basement. She sat alone at a folding table, hands wrapped around coffee she wasn't drinking, staring at nothing. Her eyes were red but dry. She'd cried herself out. David approached slowly, maintaining his persona. "Excuse me, miss. You okay?" Lena looked up, startled. Her face softened with weary recognition. "Oh, you're the new janitor. Danny, right?" "Yes, ma'am." "I'm fine." She laughed bitterly. "Well, no, I'm fired. But I guess that's what happens when you—" She trailed off, shaking her head. "Sorry. You don't need to hear this." David pulled out a chair. "I saw what happened. In the playroom." Lena's eyes widened with panic. "Please don't say anything. I know I shouldn't have interfered, but those kids—" Her voice cracked. "She called that little girl a— God, I can't even repeat it. And she broke Noah's helicopter on purpose just because he spilled juice on her dress." "An accident. He's 8 years old." "You did the right thing," David said, meaning it with every fiber of his being. The right thing just cost me my job. Lena wrapped her arms around herself. And I'm worried about what happens to Noah and Zara when I'm gone. David's throat tightened. How long you been working here? 6 months. Never met Mr. Patterson. He's always traveling. But his kids... Her face softened with grief and affection. They're wonderful. Smart, funny, kind. Noah loves building things. Zara's an artist. She drew me a picture once of us baking cookies together. I kept it in my locker. David felt something crack in his chest. That's why I couldn't just... Lena set down her cup with trembling hands. Ms. Ashford's been getting worse. At first, just cold, dismissive. But lately, when Mr. Patterson's not around, she's cruel. She criticizes everything, how they eat, speak, look. How they look. Ice formed in David's veins. Lena met his eyes and he saw exhaustion there, the kind that came from fighting battles you couldn't win. Their mother was black. Mr. Patterson's late wife. She died when the twins were 3. The kids are mixed race and they're beautiful. But Ms. Ashford... She paused carefully. She makes comments about Zara's hair being unmanageable, about Noah's skin being too dark for family photos. She told Zara last week she'd need to fix her appearance before the engagement party. David's vision went red. He'd wondered why Zara stopped wearing her natural curls, why she'd begged for straightening treatments, why Noah had asked if there was something wrong with how he looked. It wasn't childhood insecurity. It was Victoria systematically destroying his children's sense of self-worth. Why didn't anyone say something? David's voice came out harder than intended. Most staff don't see it. She's careful. Lena's jaw tightened. And who's going to believe a maid over Victoria Ashford? Who's going to risk their job? She stopped. I shouldn't be dumping this on you. Maybe that's why you can talk to me, David said softly. No history. No stakes. Lena studied him for a long moment. Maybe. What will you do now? Look for another job. I've got about 2 months of rent saved. She laughed without humor. My mom always said I was too impulsive, but I can't... Her voice broke. I have a younger brother. He's 10, same age as those kids upstairs. If someone was hurting him, I'd want somebody to step in. She couldn't finish. Tears came again. David wanted to tell her everything, wanted to rip off the disguise and promise she'd be protected, that Victoria would face consequences beyond her nightmares. But he couldn't. Not yet. Instead, he reached across the table and placed his hand over hers. You did good today, he said. Those kids won't forget what you did. And someday, somehow, it's gonna matter. You gotta believe that. Lena looked at their hands, then up at his face. For a heartbeat, David thought she recognized him, but then she just squeezed his fingers gratefully. Thank you, she whispered. I needed to hear that. After Lena was escorted off the property, David returned to his penthouse suite. He locked the door, stripped off the uniform, and stood under a scalding shower until his skin turned red. Then he got dressed, tailored slacks, crisp shirt, leather shoes, and looked at himself in the mirror. David Patterson was 42, 6'3", with dark brown skin and eyes investors described as penetrating. He'd built Patterson Energy into an $18 billion empire. He'd also been a widower for 5 years, raising twins alone. Simone's death had nearly destroyed him. They'd met in college, she studying architecture, he in engineering. She'd believed in him when he had nothing but student loans and dreams. When the twins were born, she'd cried with joy. Our babies, they're going to change the world, David. 3 years later, a drunk driver ran a red light. David had spent 5 years drowning in work and guilt. His children needed stability, a family, a mother figure. That's the lie he'd used to justify ignoring his instincts about Victoria. He looked at his reflection. You failed them. His phone buzzed. His assistant, Ms. Ashford, called. Wants to know if you're free for dinner tonight. David stared at the message, fury and calculation warring in his chest. He typed back, Tell her yes, Oriole. 8 p.m. Then he made 3 calls. First, to his head of security. Pull all security footage from the mansion for the past 3 months. Every camera. Encrypted drive by tomorrow morning. Second, to his lawyer. Review the prenup with Victoria. Look for clauses about morality or fitness as a parental figure. Third, the hardest. Ma, I need you to come to New York as soon as possible. His mother didn't hesitate. I'll be on the first flight tomorrow. Whatever it is, we'll handle it. Family handles things. After hanging up, David walked to the twins' bedroom. He could hear them whispering through the door. He knocked softly. Can Daddy come in? Silence. Then Noah's small voice. Okay. The twins sat on Zara's bed, holding hands, faces splotchy from crying. When they saw him, Noah flinched, actually flinched, and David's heart shattered. Hey, he said gently, kneeling to their level. I heard there was trouble this afternoon. Zara's eyes filled with tears. We didn't mean to... Stop. David held up a hand. You're not in trouble. I promise. I just want to know. Are you guys okay? The twins looked at each other, silent conversation passing between them. Noah whispered, Is Lena really gone? Yes. Zara started crying. It's our fault. No, baby, no. David pulled them into his arms. Lena got fired because she's a good person who did the right thing, and people who do the right thing always win in the end. You gotta trust me on that. Do you promise? Noah asked. David thought about Victoria, about the evidence he was gathering, about the reckoning coming. I promise, Daddy's gonna fix everything. The twins nodded, but doubt lingered in their small bodies. He'd lost their trust, but he'd earn it back, no matter what it took. David's gathering evidence, but Victoria has no idea what's coming. Want to see what happens at that dinner? Drop a comment and subscribe. That evening, David sat across from Victoria Ashford at Oriole, watching her perform. She was stunning in navy Dior, blonde hair swept into an elegant chignon, smile radiant as she touched his hand. Darling, you seem tense. Board meeting rough? Long day, David said, sipping wine. How were the kids? Oh, fine. Well behaved for once. Victoria laughed, a tinkling sound that made David's skin crawl. Actually, I had to let one of the housekeeping staff go today. The young girl, Lena, I think. She was getting too familiar with Noah and Zara, overstepping boundaries. David's grip on his wine glass tightened. What kind of boundaries? Acting like their mother or something, making them dependent on her instead of bonding with me. Victoria leaned forward. It's important I establish myself as their primary female figure before the wedding, don't you think? Of course, David said smoothly. Victoria beamed. I knew you'd understand. I've been thinking about boarding schools. Switzerland has wonderful institutions that specialize in shaping children from complicated backgrounds. Noah and Zara would benefit from that structure. David set down his glass carefully. You want to send my 8-year-olds to boarding school in Europe? Not permanently, just during the school year. Darling, you and I deserve time to build our relationship without constant demands. The twins would thrive with proper discipline. David studied the woman he'd imagined building a life with and felt nothing but revulsion. Let me think about it, he said. Of course. Victoria squeezed his hand. Trust me, David. I only want what's best for our family. Our family. Poison. David smiled. I know exactly what you want, Victoria. Later that night, after kissing Victoria's cheek and promising to call, David sat in his car and finally let the mask fall. He pulled out his phone and opened the encrypted folder his security chief had started compiling. Security footage, time-stamped and categorized. He started watching. What he saw made him want to vomit. Victoria alone with the twins. Zara, you eat like an animal. Noah, stop fidgeting. You look ridiculous. Why are you so slow? Are you stupid? Victoria grabbing Zara's arm hard enough to bruise. You clumsy little... Victoria whispering to Noah about his mother. She's gone, because even God knew she wasn't good enough. That's why you have to try so hard. You've got bad blood. David stopped the video. Bad blood. She'd told his son, his beautiful, brilliant, perfect son, that he had bad blood, that Simone wasn't good enough, that Noah and Zara had to overcome their own existence. David closed his eyes and thought about Lena Brooks. Lena, who'd risked everything to protect children she barely knew, who'd stood between Victoria and his kids without hesitation. He pulled up his phone. "I need you to find someone for me. Lena Brooks, just fired from housekeeping. I need her address, employment history, financial situation. Tonight." "Consider it done, sir." David hung up and looked at his reflection in the rearview mirror. The man looking back was different, colder, harder, dangerous. "I'm coming for you, Victoria," he whispered. "And when I'm done, you're going to wish you'd never learned my children's names." The file arrived at 2 a.m. Lena Marie Brooks, age 26. Education, Columbia University, B.A. Elementary education. Family, mother deceased, 2023. Brother, Isaiah Brooks, age 10. Guardian, Lena. Student loans, $87,000. Current savings, $1,247. David read it twice, the weight settling over him. Lena had a degree in education. She'd been a teacher's assistant at a prestigious school. She'd walked away from that career to become a maid because it paid more per hour, giving her flexibility to care for a 10-year-old brother she'd become responsible for when her mother died. She wasn't just some housekeeper. She was a woman who understood children, who'd chosen to work with them, and she'd given it all up to survive. David picked up his phone again. "I need Lena Brooks's rent paid for the next year, anonymously. Use the foundation's charitable accounts, and her student loans, the medical debt, handle it discreetly." "Understood, sir." "And one more thing. I want to hire her back, not as housekeeping, as the twins' nanny. Full-time, $85,000 a year, full benefits. But she can't know who I am yet. Not until I've dealt with Victoria. I'll arrange it." After hanging up, David turned back to the monitors displaying Victoria's cruelty on repeat. He was going to destroy her, systematically, privately, and she'd never see it coming. But first, he needed to make one more call. "Lena Brooks, this is David Patterson. I know you were fired yesterday. I know why, and I need to see you, today." Silence stretched. Then, "Mr. Patterson, I didn't do anything wrong. I know, and that's why I'm calling. I'm offering you a job as my children's nanny, $85,000 a year, full benefits, housing if you need it. Can you meet me at the estate this evening, 7 o'clock? Another pause. "Why?" "Because you protected them when no one else would, and you're exactly what they need." Okay, what time?" 7. "Come to the main entrance." David hung up and stared at his reflection. The janitor disguise was over. Now came the reckoning. David's about to reveal himself, but will Lena accept? And what happens when Victoria realizes she's lost control? Comment below and subscribe. Lena Brooks stood outside the Patterson estate at 6:55 p.m., heart hammering. She'd changed clothes 3 times. First, the funeral dress, too formal. Then jeans and a blazer, too casual. Finally, gray slacks and a cream blouse. Professional but not pretentious. Now, staring at the massive iron gates, she wondered if she'd made a terrible mistake. The intercom crackled. "Miss Brooks?" "Yes." "Please come in. Mr. Patterson is expecting you." The gates swung open, and Lena walked up the driveway. She'd used the service entrance dozens of times as a housekeeper. Walking through the front felt wrong, like trespassing. The door opened before she could knock. David Patterson himself stood there. Lena had glimpsed him before, in photographs, in magazine covers, from a distance, but she'd never been this close. He was taller than she'd realized. 6'3" at least, with dark brown skin and eyes that seemed to look straight through her. Despite the casual clothes, he radiated presence. "Ms. Brooks," he extended his hand. "Thank you for coming." Lena shook it, trying not to show how much hers was trembling. "Mr. Patterson, I have to admit, I'm confused. Come in, please." He led her to a comfortable family room, not his intimidating office. This felt intentional. "Can I get you something? Water? Coffee?" "Water would be good." He handed her a bottle and sat across from her. For a moment, he just studied her face. "Before we talk about the job," David said quietly, "I need to apologize." Lena blinked. "For what?" "For not protecting my children sooner, for creating an environment where you had to risk your job to keep them safe." his voice roughened. "For not seeing what was happening in my own house." "Mr. Patterson, you couldn't have known—" "I should have." The words were sharp, angry, but directed inward. "They're my children, my responsibility." Lena set down her water. "How did you find out?" David's smile was bitter. "I saw it myself." "But you were traveling?" "I lied." He leaned forward. 3 weeks ago, I disguised myself as a janitor, worked in my own house under a fake name, watching what happened when people thought I wasn't there." Lena's eyes widened. "Danny. You were Danny." "Yes." The memory crashed over her. The janitor with kind eyes who'd told her she did good, that it would matter someday. "Oh my God. I saw what Victoria did. I saw what you did." David's voice dropped. "What you did in that playroom, standing up to someone who could destroy your career, that took more courage than anything I've done in 20 years of business. I just did what anyone would—" "No, most people wouldn't." His intensity pinned her. "Most people would have looked away. You gave up your livelihood to protect my kids. I can never repay that. But I'd like to try." "The job offer is real?" "Completely real. $85,000 a year, full benefits, housing on the property if you want it. You'd be the twins' primary caregiver, full authority over their education, activities, everything." Lena's mind reeled. "Why me?" "You could hire someone with better credentials. You have a degree in education from Columbia." She froze. "How did you—" "I had my security team research your background. I know about your teaching experience, your mother's death, your brother Isaiah." His expression softened. "I know you gave up a career you loved to take care of your family." Tears pricked Lena's eyes. "Mr. Patterson." "David, please." "David, I appreciate this more than you know, but I need to be honest. I have a 10-year-old brother who lives with me. I'm his legal guardian. If I take this job, I'd need to bring him, and I understand if that's—" "Bring him?" Lena stared. "What?" "The guest house has 3 bedrooms. There's an excellent school nearby. Isaiah is welcome. In fact," David smiled genuinely, "Noah and Zara could use another friend. Someone their age they can trust." "You'd do that? For a kid you've never met?" "I'd do that for the sister of the woman who saved my children's lives." David's voice was firm. "Every child deserves a safe place to grow up, including Isaiah." Lena felt tears spill over. "I don't usually—" "Don't apologize. You've been through hell this week." They sat in silence while Lena composed herself. "Can I ask you something?" she said finally. "Anything." "What happened to Ms. Ashford?" David's expression hardened. "I ended it. Yesterday. After I confronted her. She must have been furious." "She was, but she's also terrified." David pulled out his phone, showed Lena 30 seconds of footage. Victoria screaming at Zara, using language no one should use with a child. Lena felt sick. "How long?" "Months. I have hours like this." David put the phone away. "Victoria thinks I'm going to release it publicly, destroy her reputation. Aren't you?" David smiled coldly. "No. I'm going to do something worse. I'm going to show this footage to the 50 people whose opinions she actually cares about, her family, her financial backers, the trustees who control her inheritance. And I'm going to watch every door that matters to her close, quietly, privately, one by one." Before Lena could respond, the door burst open. "Daddy!" Zara ran in, Noah right behind. They skidded to a stop when they saw Lena. For a moment, no one moved. Then Zara screamed, a happy scream, and launched herself at Lena. "You came back! Daddy said you were coming, but I didn't believe him." Lena caught the girl instinctively. Noah hung back, but his eyes were bright with hope. "Hi, sweetheart. Yeah, I'm here." "Are you staying?" Zara pulled back, searching Lena's face. "Forever?" Lena looked at David, who was watching with an unreadable expression. "I don't know yet, honey. Your dad and I are still talking." "But you'll think about it?" Noah spoke up. "Please?" "Yeah," Lena said, feeling her heart crack open. "I'll think about it." David stood. "Kids, why don't you show Lena the guest house? I think she'd like to see it." The twins grabbed Lena's hands and pulled her up, chattering over each other about the huge kitchen and the tree outside and how there was room for Isaiah, too. As they dragged her away, Lena glanced back at David. He mouthed 2 words, "Thank you." Lena's considering the job, but Victoria's not done yet. What happens when she realizes David's moved on? Comment your predictions and subscribe. Lena accepted the job. She moved into the guest house 3 days later, Isaiah in tow. Her brother, skinny, energetic, all gangly limbs, took one look at the property and whispered, "Lena, are we rich now?" "No, baby, but we're safe, and that's better." The twins absorbed Isaiah into their orbit immediately. Within days, the 3 children were inseparable, building forts, playing games, laughing in ways that made the adults stop and listen. Lena fell into the rhythm naturally. She woke the twins gently, made breakfast they actually wanted to eat, helped with homework without making it feel like punishment. She read to them at night and stayed until they fell asleep. And slowly, she watched them heal. Noah started laughing again, first in small bursts, then full belly laughs. Zara began drawing, filling sketchbooks with bright colors. They stopped flinching when adults raised their voices. David watched it all with an expression Lena couldn't quite read. He thanked her constantly, too much, like he couldn't believe someone would care for his children without ulterior motives. And slowly, carefully, they developed something deeper than friendship. David would join them for dinner when he wasn't traveling. He'd ask about her day, her brother, her plans for the kids' education. He listened, really listened. And Lena found herself looking forward to those dinners more than she wanted to admit. 2 weeks after Lena moved in, David's revenge plan began. The first domino fell on a Tuesday. Victoria's primary financial backer, a trustee who controlled her inheritance, received an encrypted package. Inside, security footage, time-stamped and authenticated. A note: "This is who your money is supporting." By Thursday, Victoria received a letter. Her quarterly disbursements were suspended, pending character review. She called David, furious. "You can't do this! That's my money!" "I didn't do anything," David said calmly. "I simply provided information. What Mr. Harding does with it is his choice." "You're ruining my life." "No, Victoria. You ruined your own life when you tortured my children. I'm just making sure people know who you really are." She hung up. The second domino fell 3 days later. Victoria's mother received her own package, footage plus medical records documenting bruises on Zara, anxiety symptoms, therapy notes. Catherine Ashford watched her daughter verbally abuse 2 8-year-olds and felt something turn to ice. She called Victoria. "Come to the house. Now." When Victoria arrived, her mother played the footage. "Mother, it's not... Be quiet." Catherine's voice was arctic. "I raised you to be ambitious, strategic, strong. I did not raise you to be cruel to children. Those children were impossible. They needed discipline." "They needed kindness." Catherine turned off the screen. "Until you seek professional help and demonstrate genuine remorse, you are not welcome in this family." "You're disowning me?" "I'm protecting this family's reputation. Get help, Victoria, or don't. But do it somewhere else." The dominoes continued falling. Victoria's charity board positions quietly weren't renewed. Invitations stopped arriving. Wedding contractors found clauses allowing withdrawal. Each rejection was private, polite, unarguable, and each came with the same message: "We know what you did." 3 weeks after Lena moved in, she found David in his office late at night. "Can't sleep?" she asked from the doorway. David looked up, surprised. "Isaiah okay?" "Nightmare. He's settled now." She stepped inside. "You're still working?" "Just finishing some things." He closed the laptop. "How are the kids?" "Getting better every day. Noah built an entire city out of Legos. Zara painted a picture of all of us. Wants to give it to you." David smiled, but it was tired. "She's so talented." "She gets it from her mother, I bet." "Yeah, Simone was..." Grief flickered across his face. "She would have loved you, how you are with the kids." "I wish I could have met her." Silence stretched between them. "Lena, "Can I ask you something?" David said. "Of course." "Do you think I'm doing the right thing? With Victoria?" Lena considered carefully. "I think you're protecting your children. Victoria's facing consequences she earned. But revenge is exhausting. Eventually, you'll need to let it go. Not for her sake, for yours." David studied her. "You're wiser than I realized. I just know what happens when anger becomes all you have left." Lena thought of her mother, dying slowly, worried about who would care for her children. Life's too short. Even when they hurt the people we love most? Even then, eventually. She smiled. "But I'm not saying stop now. Just remember to look up sometimes. Remember there's more to life than what Victoria took." David stood, crossed to where she stood. He was close enough that Lena could smell his cologne, see the amber flecks in his eyes. "Thank you," he said quietly, "for being here, for caring, for—" He stopped. "Just thank you. You don't have to keep thanking me, David. This is my job." "It stopped being just a job 2 weeks ago," David said. "For me, anyway." The air between them felt charged, electric. Then David stepped back, breaking the moment. "Good night, Lena." "Good night, David." She walked back to the guest house, mind spinning, and in his office David sat down and stared at the closed door, wondering when exactly he'd started falling for his children's nanny. But across the city, Victoria Ashford sat in her penthouse, staring at her phone. 4 weeks of rejections, 4 weeks of doors closing, 4 weeks of watching her life dismantle piece by piece. She was done playing defense. It was time to destroy David Patterson the way he'd destroyed her, and she knew exactly where to start. The pretty young nanny who'd stolen her place. Victoria picked up her phone and made a call. "I need a private investigator, someone discreet. I have a job that requires delicate handling." The romance is building, but Victoria's planning her counterattack. What happens when she strikes back? Drop a comment and subscribe. The photos hit the tabloids 3 days later. Lena was making breakfast when her phone exploded with notifications. Then David's security chief burst through the door, face grim. "Don't look at your phone," he said. "Don't go online." "What happened?" He handed her his tablet. The headline screamed, "Billionaire's Secret Affair. David Patterson caught kissing children's nanny amid abuse allegations." Below it, photos. David and Lena outside the guest house, kissing. Crystal clear, devastating. And the article was worse. Sources close to the Patterson family revealed David Patterson ended his engagement to Victoria Ashford under mysterious circumstances. Now, photos show the energy mogul in a passionate embrace with Lena Brooks, the woman he recently hired as his children's nanny. The revelation comes amid an ongoing investigation by Child Protective Services into allegations of inappropriate conduct. According to court documents filed by Ashford, she witnessed concerning behavior before their engagement ended. Questions are now being raised. Did Patterson end his engagement to pursue an affair with his employee? Are the children being exposed to inappropriate behavior? Victoria's statement was printed at the bottom. "I loved David's children as my own. When I discovered what was happening in that household, I tried to intervene. Instead, David destroyed my reputation. I pray the authorities protect those innocent children." Lena read it twice, hands shaking. "This is all lies." "I know," the security chief said, "but CPS is coming today. Surprise inspection. They want to interview the children, separately. They're going to question Noah and Zara? Protocol in abuse investigations. Those kids just started feeling safe. This will traumatize them all over again." "I know, but if we refuse cooperation, it looks like we're hiding something." By noon, the Patterson estate was under siege. News vans lined the street. Helicopters circled overhead. Reporters shouted questions at anyone who came or went. Inside felt like a bunker. Lena found David in his study, surrounded by lawyers, looking like he'd aged 10 years overnight. "Lena, I'm so sorry," he said immediately. "This is my fault. I should have been more careful." "Stop." Lena took his hands. "We both knew Victoria would retaliate. She's destroying you along with me. Your name is everywhere. They're digging into your past. Let them dig. There's nothing to find." She squeezed his hands. "David, I'm not leaving." His lawyer spoke up. CPS is coming in 2 hours. They'll interview everyone, and depending on what they find, they could remove the children pending investigation. David's hands tightened. Remove them? Take them from me? Worst case scenario, but with these allegations, with the media coverage, they have to consider it. They can't take my kids. David's voice was raw. If they get put in foster care, that won't happen, the lawyer said firmly. We have documentation, evidence, the truth. A knock interrupted. The security chief entered. We found who sold the photos. Private investigator named Jake Morrison. Victoria hired him 3 weeks ago to surveil the property. Can we charge him? The lawyer asked. He stayed on public property, technically legal. He looked at David. But he's willing to testify that Victoria specifically ordered compromising photos, told him she needed ammunition. That proves intent, the lawyer said. We can use it. Doesn't help if CPS takes the kids today, David snapped. Then he closed his eyes. Sorry, I know you're all doing everything you can. Where are the children now? Lena asked. With David's mother in the game room. They don't know about the articles yet, but they know something's wrong. I need to talk to them, David said. Before CPS gets here. No. The lawyer's voice was sharp. If you talk to them before investigators arrive, Victoria's lawyers will claim you coached them. They're my children. I know, but we have to think strategically. David looked at Lena, eyes full of anguish. Will you stay with them during the interviews? Of course. CPS arrived at 2 o'clock. 2 investigators, Dr. Rachel Kim and Thomas Wright, entered with briefcases and expressions of professional neutrality. Mr. Patterson, thank you for your cooperation. Our priority is ensuring Noah and Zara's safety. Their safety is my priority too, David said tightly. Have you seen the evidence we provided, the footage of Victoria Ashford abusing my children? We have, and that's part of our investigation. But Mr. Patterson, we're required by law to investigate all formal complaints. Even when they're demonstrably false? Even then. Dr. Kim's voice was kind but firm. We need to speak with each family member separately, starting with the children. I want to be there, David said. That's not protocol. We need to interview them without parental influence. Then I want Lena there. Ms. Brooks is named in the allegations. We can't have her present. Lena felt cold wrap around her chest. But they're 8 years old. They'll be terrified. We're trained to work with children. They'll be fine. They watched the investigators disappear upstairs with the twins, and Lena had never felt more helpless. David reached for her hand. They stood together in the foyer, and Lena felt the weight of everything crushing down. What if they get scared and say something wrong? She whispered. David's mother appeared from the kitchen. Those babies know the truth, and the truth is stronger than Victoria's lies. They waited. 20 minutes became 40. 40 became an hour. Finally, the investigators returned. Expressions unreadable. Mr. Patterson, we need to speak with you, privately. Anything you say to me, you can say in front of Lena and my mother. Dr. Kim hesitated, then nodded. We've completed preliminary interviews. I have to say, those are very articulate, emotionally intelligent children. They take after their mother, David said quietly. They spoke highly of you and of Ms. Brooks. They described feeling safe with her, loved. Lena felt tears prick her eyes. However, Thomas Wright continued, we do have concerns. The children expressed confusion about Victoria's sudden departure. Noah specifically asked if he and Zara did something wrong. I explained Victoria left because of her behavior, not theirs. Children internalize adult conflicts. We're also concerned about the rapid transition from Victoria to Ms. Brooks. That kind of instability can be damaging. Instability? Lena couldn't help herself. I've given those children nothing but stability. And you're romantically involved with their father, Wright said bluntly. That's a boundary violation. It's not a violation, David said. Our relationship has nothing to do with how she cares for my children. When romantic relationships exist within a household, particularly employer-employee, it creates power dynamics harmful to children. The lawyer interjected. Did Noah or Zara say anything negative about Ms. Brooks? Anything at all? Dr. Kim hesitated. No, they were enthusiastic about her. Then what are we discussing? The issue is perception. The media coverage, the allegations, all create an environment potentially damaging to the children. David's mother stood. So you're punishing them for being famous? My grandbabies are healing. They're happy. If you take them away, you'll destroy everything we've built. Silence. Dr. Kim sighed. We're not removing the children today. Based on our interviews, there's no evidence of immediate danger. However, we will conduct follow-up visits over 6 weeks, unannounced. And we need some changes. What changes? Clear professional boundaries between you and Ms. Brooks. No displays of affection in front of the children. Separate living arrangements. Weekly therapy sessions will approve. And Mr. Patterson, limit your travel. The children need their primary caregiver present. David nodded slowly. Fine, whatever you need. After the investigators left, the study erupted. Displays of affection? Lena was pacing. They're treating us like criminals. It could have been worse, the lawyer said. They could have removed the kids. It doesn't feel like a slap on the wrist, David said. Victoria's winning. She set out to destroy me, and she's doing it. Stop it. Lena crossed to him, took his face in her hands. Listen, I knew the risks. I chose this anyway. I chose you. I chose those kids, and I'm not going anywhere. Victoria's destroying your life. My life is exactly where I want it to be. Her voice was fierce. I don't regret a single moment. Behind them, the lawyer cleared her throat. We have a bigger problem. Victoria's scheduled a press conference. Tomorrow morning. She's going public. Victoria's about to play victim to the world. Can David and Lena survive the media firestorm? Comment your thoughts and subscribe. Victoria Ashford's press conference was scheduled for 10 a.m. at the Plaza Hotel. By 9:30, the ballroom was packed with reporters and cameras. Everyone knew they were about to witness either a takedown or a redemption. Victoria stood backstage in a simple navy dress, expensive but understated. Minimal makeup, hair in a loose bun. She looked like a woman who'd been through hell. Perfect. 5 minutes, Ms. Ashford, the stage manager said. Victoria nodded, checking her phone one last time. Then she saw it. A text from an unknown number. You might want to see this before you go out there. Below it, a link. Victoria's stomach twisted. She clicked. The link opened to a live stream. Patterson family response, the truth about Victoria Ashford. And it was already streaming. Victoria's blood went cold. On screen sat David, not the polished CEO, but a man in jeans and a simple shirt, in what looked like his home office, tired but calm, determined. Beside him sat Lena Brooks. No, Victoria whispered. No, no. David was speaking. Good morning. My name is David Patterson, and I'm here with Lena Brooks to address the allegations made against us. We're not using traditional media because we want you to hear the truth directly from us. Lena took over, voice steady despite nervousness. 8 weeks ago, I witnessed Victoria Ashford verbally and physically abuse David's 8-year-old twins. When I intervened to protect them, she fired me. That's the truth. Everything else is a lie designed to destroy David's reputation. Turn it off, Victoria snapped, but her hands shook too badly. David spoke again. I know what you're thinking, but we're not asking you to just believe us. We're going to show you. The screen split. A professional-looking woman appeared. My name is Jennifer Martinez. I worked as a chef in the Patterson household for 3 years. I'm here because I can no longer stay silent about what I witnessed. Victoria felt the floor drop. I watched Ms. Ashford systematically isolate and belittle those children. She criticized everything, their appearance, behavior, their existence. I heard her tell Zara she was too dark for family photos. I watched her grab Noah hard enough to leave bruises. When I tried to speak up, she had me fired. More faces appeared, more testimonies. The driver, the housekeeper, the tutor. 7 witnesses total, their voices overlapping in damning testimony. Victoria's carefully planned press conference was crumbling before it even began. On screen, David spoke again. These people didn't come forward sooner because they were afraid. Victoria Ashford comes from a powerful family. Speaking out meant risking everything. But after watching her lies broadcast everywhere, they decided the risk was worth it. Lena leaned forward. I want to address the photos. Yes, David and I have feelings for each other. But that happened after I was rehired, after Victoria was removed, after weeks of helping Noah and Zara heal. Our relationship isn't inappropriate. It's two adults who found something meaningful in chaos, and we refuse to be ashamed. The screen changed. Medical records, therapy notes, school reports, all dated and authenticated. These document the decline in the children's health during Victoria's time with us, David explained. Anxiety, depression, physical stress symptoms, and after she left, improvement. This isn't abuse. This is recovery. Victoria dropped her phone, hands trembling. Ms. Ashford? The stage manager looked concerned. We need to cancel it, Victoria said. What? Cancel the press conference, now. Tell them I'm ill. Just get them out. But there are over 100 reporters. I don't care! Victoria's voice rose to a shriek. Cancel it! The stage manager stumbled away. Victoria picked up her phone. The live stream was still going. David was wrapping up. Victoria Ashford is a liar and an abuser. She hurt my children. When I discovered the truth, she launched a campaign to destroy me rather than face consequences. I'm not asking for sympathy. I'm asking for the truth to be heard, and now you've heard it. He paused, expression softening. To Victoria, if you're watching, I'm done. Your trust fund is gone. Your social connections are severed. Your reputation is destroyed. You tried to take everything from me, and instead, you lost everything yourself. I hope it was worth it. The screen went black. Victoria stared at her phone, at her reflection in the darkened glass, and felt something inside her finally break. Not her pride, not her anger, her hope. She'd lost. Completely, irrevocably, publicly. Across the city, in David's office, Lena let out a shaky breath. Is it over? She asked. The stream? Yes. David closed his laptop. The fallout? Just beginning. His lawyer looked up from monitoring social media. David, you need to see this. She turned her laptop around. The live stream had been viewed over 2 million times, and the comments were overwhelmingly supportive. I believed Victoria at first, but after those testimonies, she's a monster. David Patterson did the right thing. Protect your kids at all costs. Lena Brooks is a hero. The tide was turning, rapidly. Major news outlets were picking up the story with different headlines. 7 witnesses confirm abuse by Victoria Ashford. David Patterson releases evidence disproving allegations. Former staff speak out. She tortured those children. We're trending, the security chief said. Number 1, Victoria's name is trending too, but not how she wanted. David's mother appeared in the doorway. The helicopters are leaving. David stood so fast he nearly knocked over his chair. They're gone? Packed up 20 minutes ago. Once your stream went viral, they moved on. David crossed to Lena and pulled her into his arms. We did it. We actually did it. Is it really over? Lena asked, voice muffled against his chest. Not completely. Victoria could still try something, but... He looked at his lawyer. I think Victoria just lost her last card, she said. She can't claim victim status. She can't weaponize the media. Her best option now is to disappear and hope people forget. After everyone left, David and Lena stood alone in the office. I need to tell you something, David said. Okay. When Simone died, I thought I'd used up my one chance at love. Then you walked into my life. Not in some movie-perfect moment. You walked in doing your job, protecting my kids because it was right. And Lena, somewhere between that moment and now, I fell in love with you. Lena's tears spilled over. I love you too. I've been terrified to say it because of everything happening, but... David kissed her, soft and sweet and full of promise. When this settles, he said, when they broke apart, when CPS closes their investigation and life returns to normal, I want to do this right. Date you properly, take you to dinner, get to know everything about you. I'd like that, Lena whispered. And eventually, when the time is right, I want to build a life with you, a real one, as partners. Before Lena could respond, Noah came running in. Daddy? Lena? Grandma said the helicopters are gone. Does that mean everything's okay? David crouched down, opening his arms. Both twins crashed into him. Lena knelt beside them, and suddenly they were all tangled together. "Yeah, buddy," David said, voice thick. "Everything's going to be okay now." The truth won, but what happens next? One more part to go. Drop a comment if you're crying happy tears and subscribe. 2 weeks later, life had settled into something resembling normalcy. CPS closed their investigation after the second follow-up visit, citing clear evidence of a safe, nurturing environment. The tabloids moved on. The helicopters stayed away. Victoria Ashford had disappeared. Rumors said Europe, maybe the West Coast. No one knew for sure. After a while, no one cared. David kept his promise about dating Lena properly. Quiet dinners where no one recognized them. Walks in Central Park with the children. Hours of conversation about everything and nothing. And slowly, carefully, they built something real. 3 months after the truth came out, David received an unexpected email. Subject: Request for meeting. Catherine Ashford. He stared at it for a full minute before calling his lawyer. "Did you see it?" "I saw it. Catherine Ashford wants to meet. No lawyers, no media." "She says Victoria has something to say to you and the children." "Absolutely not," David said immediately. "I'm not putting Noah and Zara in the same room with that woman." "I understand, but David, Catherine mentioned Victoria's been in intensive therapy, inpatient treatment. She wants to take accountability." "Accountability? Now? After everything?" "I know it sounds convenient, but Catherine was specific. Victoria wants restorative justice mediation. She wants to apologize directly." David was quiet. "Let me talk to Lena." He found Lena in the guest house kitchen, helping Isaiah with homework. "Can we talk? Privately?" Lena's expression shifted. "What's wrong?" He explained the email, Catherine's request, Victoria's supposed therapy, and desire for accountability. Lena listened without interrupting. "What do you think?" David asked. "Honestly, it's suspicious. Victoria spent months trying to destroy you. Why would she suddenly want to apologize?" "That's what I said." "But," Lena bit her lip, "people can change. Maybe not completely, but they can have moments of clarity, moments where they genuinely want to make amends." "You think Victoria's having one of those moments?" "I don't know. But Noah still asks about her sometimes. Zara has nightmares where she apologizes to Victoria for making her mad. They carry guilt they shouldn't carry. If Victoria could take that away, tell them clearly that none of it was their fault, wouldn't that be worth the risk?" David pulled her close. "When did you get so wise?" "I've always been wise. You just didn't notice because I was wearing a maid's uniform." He laughed, despite himself. "So you think we should meet with her?" "I think we meet with Catherine first, without the kids, hear what she has to say, then decide." 3 days later, David and Lena sat in a private mediation center waiting. When Catherine walked in, David barely recognized her. The elegant society matron looked diminished, older. She wore minimal makeup and simple clothes. "Mr. Patterson, Ms. Brooks, thank you for coming." "We haven't agreed to anything," David said. "We're here to listen." "I understand." Catherine sat down. "I need to start by apologizing. For my daughter. For not seeing what was happening until too late." "You watched the security footage," Lena said. "Yes, all of it. Every horrifying second." Catherine's voice wavered. "I raised Victoria to be strong, ambitious, successful. But I failed to teach her empathy, kindness, basic decency." "Why are you here?" David asked. Catherine pulled out a folder. 2 weeks ago, after your live stream, Victoria had a breakdown. She called me, hysterical, saying she wanted to end her life. I had her admitted to a psychiatric facility." Lena gasped. David felt his chest tighten despite himself. The doctors diagnosed her with narcissistic personality disorder combined with untreated trauma. Victoria grew up in an environment that rewarded cruelty and punished vulnerability. I created that environment. "That doesn't excuse what she did," David said firmly. "No, it doesn't. And Victoria knows that." Catherine opened the folder. She's been working with a therapist who specializes in restorative justice. She's written letters, To you, to Ms. Brooks, to Noah and Zara. She's also prepared a video statement taking full responsibility and explicitly stating that none of it was the children's fault. Catherine slid documents across the table. She wants to participate in mediation. She wants to hear how her actions affected you. She wants to answer questions. And she wants to apologize. Really apologize. David picked up one of the letters addressed to him. He didn't open it. Why should we believe this is real? You shouldn't. Not yet. Catherine leaned forward. But I'm asking you to give her the chance to prove it. One meeting, controlled environment, your lawyer and security present. If you feel uncomfortable, you can leave. But Mr. Patterson, my daughter is broken. She's done terrible things, but she's finally seeing the truth about who she's become, and she's horrified. Lena spoke up. What does she want long-term? Nothing. No money, no reconciliation, no public redemption. She just wants the people she hurt to know it wasn't their fault, that they didn't deserve it, that she was the problem. David and Lena exchanged glances. We need to talk privately, David said. Once alone, David turned to Lena. What's your gut telling you? That Catherine is sincere. Whether Victoria is, I don't know. If we bring the kids into this and Victoria hurts them again, then we'll deal with it. But David, think about the guilt Noah and Zara carry. If there's even a chance Victoria can release them from that. Lena took his hand. We have to try. David nodded slowly. Okay, we meet with Victoria first, without the kids, and if, only if, she proves herself, we consider bringing them in, with therapists present. Every safety measure possible. They told Catherine their decision. Catherine's eyes filled with tears. Thank you. Don't thank us yet, David said. If Victoria slips even once, we're done. Permanently. The next afternoon, they returned to the mediation center. This time, Victoria was already there. David almost didn't recognize her. No polish, no elegance, just jeans and a sweater, no makeup, hair in a messy ponytail. She looked smaller, fragile. She stood when they entered, hands shaking. Thank you for coming. I know you have no reason to trust me. You're right. We don't, David said. The mediator, Dr. Helen Rodriguez, spoke gently. Victoria, why don't you explain why you wanted this meeting? Victoria sat slowly. Tears immediately started falling. I'm sorry, she said, voice breaking. I'm so sorry for what I did to your children, for what I tried to do to both of you, for... Sobs choked off her words. David's jaw tightened. This could still be manipulation. But then Victoria pulled out her phone and showed them a journal entry from the night she was admitted. David read aloud. I wanted to die tonight. Not because I lost my money or reputation, but because I saw myself clearly. And I am a monster. I tortured 2 innocent children because they reminded me I would never be enough. So I hurt them. I made them feel worthless because that's how I felt. He set the phone down carefully. What happened after you wrote that? David asked. I called my mother. She had me committed. Victoria wiped her eyes. The first week I was furious, convinced everyone was wrong. But my therapist made me watch the security footage. All of it. Made me see what I really did. And? I threw up. Literally. I watched myself abuse 2 8-year-old children, and I got physically sick. Victoria's voice was raw. I kept trying to justify it, but there is no justification. I hurt innocent children because I was hurt. That's not okay. It will never be okay. Dr. Rodriguez spoke. What do you want David and Lena to know? Victoria took a shaky breath. None of it was about you or your children. Noah and Zara are beautiful, brilliant, perfect kids. They didn't do anything wrong. And David? She looked directly at him. You didn't fail them. You saved them. You're a good father, the best father. And I tried to destroy you for it because I couldn't stand that you were everything I'm not, capable of real love. David felt Lena squeeze his hand. I don't expect forgiveness, Victoria continued, but I needed you to hear that your children are not broken. They're survivors. And whatever healing they need, it's not because they're flawed. It's because I hurt them. That's on me. Only me." Silence filled the room. Finally, David spoke. "If we let you apologize to Noah and Zara, it happens on our terms, with their therapist present, with us present. The second they show distress, it's over. Yes, whatever you need. And after this, you disappear. No contact, no letters, no gifts. This is goodbye. Forever." Victoria nodded, tears streaming. "I understand." Victoria wants to apologize to the children, but can she really change? One final part remains. Comment your thoughts and subscribe. 2 weeks later, they held the meeting with the children. Dr. Rodriguez arranged everything at the mediation center, in a room designed for kids: toys, books, soft lighting. Noah and Zara's therapist sat with them. David and Lena flanked the twins. Catherine Ashford watched through one-way glass with the lawyer and security chief. Victoria sat across from them, looking smaller than David had ever seen her. "Hi, Noah. Hi, Zara," she said softly. "Thank you for being willing to talk to me." The twins didn't respond. They pressed closer to David and Lena. Dr. Rodriguez spoke gently. "Victoria asked to meet because she has things she needs to say. You don't have to say anything back. And if you want to leave, you can, okay?" Both children nodded. Victoria took a shaky breath. "I need to tell you something very important. What happened when I was living in your house? The mean things I said, the times I yelled at you when I grabbed you or broke your toys, none of that was your fault." Zara's eyes widened. Noah stared at his shoes. "You didn't do anything wrong," Victoria continued, voice breaking. "You're not bad kids. You're not too loud or too messy or too dark or too anything. You're perfect exactly as you are. I was the problem. I was mean because I was angry about things that had nothing to do with you, and that was wrong." "Why were you mean?" Noah asked suddenly, voice barely audible. Victoria looked at Dr. Rodriguez, who nodded encouragingly. "Because I was jealous," Victoria admitted. "Your daddy loved your mommy so much. Even though she's gone, he still loves her. I wanted him to love me like that. But instead of being someone worthy of that love, I got angry at you because you reminded me that I wasn't. Does that make sense?" "No," Zara said, voice stronger than Noah's. "That doesn't make sense. We didn't do anything to you." "You're absolutely right. You didn't. I'm just trying to help you understand it wasn't about you. It was about me being broken." "Are you still broken?" Noah asked. Victoria smiled sadly. "A little bit, but I'm getting help. I'm seeing a doctor who's teaching me how to be better, how to not hurt people when I'm hurting." "Good," Zara said fiercely. "You should learn that." Victoria looked at David, then back at the children. "I want you to know your daddy is the best daddy in the world. He protected you. And Lena," she looked at Lena now, "Lena is a hero. She stood up to me even though she was scared. She kept you safe. You're so lucky to have them." "We know," Noah said. "We love them." "Good." "I'm glad." Victoria's voice was thick with tears. "I'm going to go away now. You won't see me again. But I needed you to know that you are wonderful children, smart and kind and brave, and anyone who's mean to you is wrong. Not you. Never you." She stood slowly. "Thank you for listening. I know I didn't deserve it." "Wait," Zara said suddenly. She stood too, walking toward Victoria. David tensed, ready to intervene. But Zara just looked up at Victoria with those big, wise eyes and said, "I hope you feel better. I hope your doctor helps you." Victoria knelt down, eye level with Zara. "Thank you, sweetheart. That's very kind." "We learned in school that forgiveness is important," Zara continued. "So I forgive you, but I don't want you to come back." "I won't. I promise." Victoria looked like she might cry again. "Zara, can I tell you something?" Zara nodded. "Your hair is beautiful. Your skin is beautiful. Everything about you is beautiful. Don't ever let anyone tell you different." Then she looked at Noah. "And you are brilliant. I saw the things you build. You're going to do amazing things. Don't let anyone make you feel small." Noah nodded, eyes shining with tears. Victoria stood, looked at David and Lena one last time. "Thank you for this chance, for raising two incredible kids." She couldn't finish. She just nodded and left. After she was gone, Noah and Zara ran to David and Lena, burying themselves in their arms. "Is it really over now?" Noah asked. "Yeah, buddy," David said, voice rough. "It's really over." "Good." Zara pulled back and looked at Lena. "Can we go home now? I want to play in the treehouse." Lena laughed through her tears. "Yeah, baby, let's go home." 6 months later. The Patterson family gathered in the backyard for a celebration. The treehouse had been expanded. David and the kids had spent weekends building additions, creating something magnificent. But today wasn't about the treehouse. Today was about the promise ring David had given Lena 6 months ago, the one he was about to replace with something more permanent. They gathered everyone: David's mother, the kid's therapist, former staff members who'd testified, Thomas Webb and Patricia Moore, everyone who'd helped them survive. David took Lena's hand in front of everyone. "6 months ago, I gave you a promise. Now I want to make it official." He pulled out a velvet box and opened it, revealing a stunning engagement ring. "Lena Marie Brooks, will you marry me? Will you be my wife, my partner, my home?" Lena couldn't speak through her tears. She could only nod. "Yes, God, yes." David slipped the ring on her finger, and everyone erupted in cheers. Noah and Zara rushed forward, wrapping themselves around both adults. Isaiah joined in, and suddenly it was a family hug, messy and beautiful and real. "We did it," David said. "We're officially a family now." "We were always a family," Zara corrected. "Now we're just making it official." 1 year later, Lena stood in the guest house, now converted into a space for special occasions, staring at herself in the mirror. The wedding dress was simple but elegant, ivory lace with a flowing skirt, her mother's pearl necklace at her throat. "You look like a princess," Zara breathed, twirling in her pink flower girl dress. "You look beautiful, sis," Isaiah said, sharp in his junior groomsman suit. David's mother appeared in the doorway. "It's time, baby." Isaiah walked her down the aisle, her brother, soon to be legally adopted as David's son, giving her away. The symbolism wasn't lost on anyone. David stood at the altar in a perfectly tailored suit, and when he saw Lena, his face transformed with joy. The ceremony was short and sweet. "David, do you take Lena to be your wife?" "I do. I absolutely do." "Lena, do you take David to be your husband?" "I do." "Then I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss your bride." David cupped Lena's face, wiping away tears. "I love you. I love you too." They kissed, and the gathering erupted in applause. When they broke apart, David turned to the children. "Come here, guys." Noah, Zara, and Isaiah rushed forward, and suddenly it was a family hug, all of them tangled together. "We did it," David said. "We're official now." "We were always official," Zara said. "Now we're just legal." Everyone laughed. That night, after the reception ended and the children were asleep, David and Lena stood on their bedroom balcony, looking out over the estate. "We did it," David said softly. "We built something real." "We did." Lena leaned against him, his arms wrapping around her. "And it's just beginning." "I never thought I'd be this happy again," David admitted. "After Simone died, I thought that was it." "Happiness doesn't work that way," Lena said. "It's not rationed. Love makes more love. Joy makes more joy." "When did you become a philosopher?" "I've always been wise. You just didn't notice because I was wearing a janitor's—" "Wait, you were the janitor." They both laughed. They stood watching the stars, and David thought about the journey that brought them here, the disguise, the discovery, the war with Victoria, the healing. All of it had led to this moment. "Do you ever wonder what happened to Victoria?" Lena asked. "Sometimes. Patricia said she moved to Seattle, started working for a nonprofit helping abuse survivors, still in therapy." "Good. I hope she finds peace." "You really mean that?" "Yeah, carrying hate is exhausting, and David, I'm too happy to be exhausted." David kissed her forehead. Have I told you today that I love you? Twice, but I never get tired of hearing it. Good, because I plan to say it every day for the rest of our lives. Somewhere in the treehouse, hidden from view, 3 children sat whispering, Noah, Zara, and Isaiah, watching their parents on the balcony. "They're so gross," Isaiah said, but he was smiling. "They're happy," Zara corrected. "That's what matters." "Do you think everything's going to be okay now?" Noah asked. Zara thought about it, about Victoria's apology, about Lena becoming their mom, about the family they'd built from broken pieces. "Yeah," she said, "everything's going to be perfect." And she was right. The end. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey. If this story touched your heart, please leave a comment sharing your favorite moment, and subscribe so you never miss another story that celebrates love, redemption, and the power of choosing courage. Remember, family isn't always about blood. Sometimes it's about who shows up, who stays, and who loves you through the storms. Until next time, beautiful souls.